Oh
All
wow.
right, all right, all right. We are back. Agree to disagree. Just capitalizing on Black mental health. Same crew, same cast last time. There we go. There go Anthony. And I guess what it is action. Go ahead.
All right, so I guess I'll just be the moderator or something like that. I'm gonna go ahead and kick it off. So Cam, we had a very good discussion before we went live, but I think it's important when we talk about mental health. And so now that we live, like let's talk about that motorcycle incident real quick. Oh, what's up? What's the baby right there? Oh,
That's new baby more.
you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
new baby more.
But yeah, Cam, tell us about that motorcycle accident and really what you experienced, because I think that'll give us a good segue into mental health and what we really need to talk about.
So my accident, for those that don't know, I was in an accident May 30th and coming down the 101, getting over into the middle lane. I was in the far right lane. I had the lane. I overtook the lane. Car that was only, it was no traffic. Only car on the freeway that was in that lane was about 50 feet back. He came up, hit the left side, hit my left saddlebag, pushed me over into a pickup truck and took off. And a couple things stand out to me in the accident. One, I wasn't scared at all. I keep trying when I had a couple dreams about it, some that I thought were nightmares, but they weren't nightmares. And I'm sitting there trying to just find a place where I was scared. And there was no fear. And like I said earlier, the other thing was the only thing that did scare me at the end of the experience was that I looked forward to not waking up tomorrow. I look forward for that being completely it for me, because that was just going to be the ultimate pain reliever. I told Rich a couple phone calls ago, that was probably the most quiet that I've ever had in my head in my entire life. That was probably the most peaceful that I've ever had without thinking about anything except for not seeing tomorrow. And little by little, I came back to reality, you know, going through the whole hospital and all that stuff. There are a bunch of ups and down mood swings. And it, because of being frustrated, I don't like hospitals. I don't like none of that stuff. I feel like you only going to the hospital to die. And if I wasn't going to die on that road, like now I'm super pissed. But after all said and done, I honestly feel happy. I'm happy now. I'm happy in my life. I started actually hitting go on projects. I started doing a lot of things that, you know, me and Rich, we used to talk about all the time, but I wasn't doing them. We'll talk about them and we'll slowly make progress, but we wasn't really doing them, not giving it our all. And now here we are doing this, and it's not about, you know, how many views. When we on the phone, Rich, I don't really get into how many views. No, I don't care. I'm just doing what I want to do, and I'm happy doing it now. It feels good now.
Yeah, so Toy, start us off. Like, let's kind of dissect that just a little bit. We talking about somebody that reached the spot of rock bottom, look forward to the other side, and then this idea of this is the most peace I've had in my entire life, almost. You know what I mean? Like, let's kind of dissect that a little bit.
Well, I'll start with the population that I work with, which are a majority young Black men, right? Ages 12 or 13 to 18 or 19. And a lot of conversations that I have with my particular client base, I do hear that there is no fear of dying. And the reason being, a lot of my kids rationalize it in the sense of, I've already been through the worst that I could go through, facing extreme poverty, facing neighborhood violence, facing hunger daily, facing like so many obstacles and so many circumstances that look like it seemingly won't get better. It's hard to have optimism in those moments. I've had kids to be shot. I've had kids to get shot at, and processing that, they always say the same thing. No, I'm not scared of dying, because at least I know what's coming with that. If I live another day, I'm not sure what's coming or what I have to face. So that lack of fear when it comes to death, it's something that is normal in a sense when a person has gone through so much. It does seem like a sense of ultimate resolve, because once you're dead, you don't have to face certain circumstances that are outside of your control. However, the beauty of finding that optimism or that thing to be optimistic about, whether that is another chance at life, whether that is another chance to buckle down and do what you said that you were gonna do, and have that sort of rejuvenating rebirth. The beauty of that is knowing that you do have a second chance. And there is beauty in uncertainty, because of course we're not going to have everything figured out. We're not going to know what the next day is going to bring, but knowing that there is a chance to have that next day, there's beauty in that.
All right, Rich, I'm gonna tag you in, baby.
All right. And I'm agree with Toya. You know, me and one of my partners, we were out with the police trying to recruit people for our program, right? And I work with young men at risk between the ages of 18 to 24. But when we go out with the police department, they're a juvenile response unit. So they're dealing with kids as young as 12. 13-year-old sitting on the bench, knowing that he has a bunch of targets on his back. They got in a beef in the neighborhood and he knows that he's about to die. And he's just sitting there calm and peaceful, smoking the Black and Mild, and unbothered, undisturbed, because he have accepted his fate to that moment and not necessarily considered tomorrow or even how to get out of the situation. When I talked to him and listened to his story, you know, mom didn't want him. Mom had him sleeping in the... So he joined this gang. He dropped out of school at 11 years old. Now he's over to this one dude house on and off that don't want him either. And so he doesn't even really feel welcome by the world enough to fight for his own life. And for me, it's just like, wow, at such an early age, someone have accepted death in a negative way and not realizing that death is actually, in my opinion, and this might rattle some people, but in my opinion, death is a reward. When you finally done everything on this earth that you came here to do, you can finally rest your eyes and say, goodbye, world. I've done what I was sent here to do. Not a situation where it's taken by the hands of someone else or that you feel that someone else is going to take it. And so I personally feel like when you're in situations like that, you have to kind of stop and ask yourself the question, especially in Marcus' situation, stop and ask yourself the question, for why? And I like Marcus to actually go into the second part of that story, who found him when he actually opened his eyes after, you know, it happened.
Your phone, your connection kind of going in and out, Rich. But no, so what he's talking about was laying there, contemplating everything that happened. And just really, like, so I got this thing before I crashed, I started counting Mississippis. And I do that, like 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, before I black out. So hopefully when I come to, I can remember the last thing before I blacked out. And it kind of don't make sense, but that's just my thing. Been knocked out a couple of times, you know. But the thing was when I'm just sitting there like, damn, yep, I'm still alive. This is, Saturday night, still here. This totally took a turn for the worse. Well, sure enough, first little head that peeked over my helmet was this dude, hey, are you okay? Well, no, I'm in the fucking road, but okay. And and he's like, oh, well, I already called ambulance and blah, blah, blah. Well, I'm doing my little motor movements and all that stuff. Well, I call him Preacher Man, because after all this said and done, when they were getting ready to put me in the ambulance or lift me up, put me on the stretcher or whatever, he was like, do you mind if I get your contact information? I was like, no, go ahead. And sure enough, after I was all out of the hospital, he texted me and he was like, you know, I'm blah, 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 blah. I don't know if I I don't even know if it matters, but I just feel like I got to tell you I'm a preacher. And I'm sitting here like, oh, well, okay, preacher man texting me, like, okay. I'm also a little skeptical because I don't know if this motherfucker that hit me or not. But it wasn't him. It wasn't him. But yeah. And he still stay in contact to this day. I would have never met him if it wasn't for the accident. Immediately that following Sunday, he sent me a sermon. He sent me because due to the COVID they can't have church or whatever. He does like what we're doing right now of his sermon. And that sermon, and if I'm lying, I'm dying. Tell him, Rich, the sermon has a lot to do with everything that I decided to do after my accident and believing, doing, and achieving, and it's crazy because during our weekly readings that me and Rich have, we always got to pull something from it, and we just spitball, throw a sermon out there. And it's just crazy how they always relate to what we're currently doing in life now. It's just crazy. But yeah, that was the preacher man, Bowman. That's his real name, but preacher man. He's a good guy.
What's up, Ant? You got a couple of words you want to add real quick before we bring Rich back in?
You muted, bro.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Sorry, a lot of it I was missing my daughter, so I kind of missed some of it. I think I can kind of understand where Marcus is coming from. Deployed 3 times, and there were times or experiences during deployment when things happen, being knocked unconscious, things blown up around me. My last deployment almost got things that stick out my head. That pop in my memory real quick is one of my last few missions. How they say is right before you get ready to redeploy back home, that's when stuff hits the fan. That's when you experience some of the worst things. And one of our missions, we were clearing one village further down from our cop, and we got in a little tick on this little hill, Salar District. I remember what it was called, and got in contact, usual, and then almost got hit in the head shot in the head by a sniper. Felt the crack, felt the whiz by the head. It went between me and another sergeant we had, Sergeant Fleming's white dude. I still talk to him to this day, and it knocked my head back. And I think in those instances when you are so close to death, it's either you're content or you're like, oh no. And I think in that instance, instance like that, being knocked unconscious for IED, stuff like that, I was kind of like, not really, I guess kind of strong to use, not really caring, especially when you have so much stress you're dealing with, like ex-wives, divorce, deployment already, and you're just like compounds, all these other different things. It just mix and doesn't mix well. And so when something happens it's a life-changing, life-altering event where you could die, possibly die, you have to care or you don't. And I think like my last deployment, there was no care because I was, third deployment. I went to the deployment not expecting to come back. Sad thing to say. I had a crazy ex-wife who, per her words, she actually said to me is, I wish you didn't come back. And this was like the second deployment. So, when you deal with stress like that, it's kind of like you don't care. So when it comes to what Camp said, with what he experienced, he was kind of like content. If he left, he left. And I think that mindset where I was then, I was saying I didn't expect to come back, seriously. So.
Yo, man, appreciate you sharing, bro. Like, I ain't never been on that side deployed or anything like that, but, I can only imagine. I used to joke with people like, yeah, I always want to be a Navy SEAL. And I started training and it was like, nope, that ain't my life. Can't do that. But some of the stuff that come up as you all were talking was, and I kind of wrote it down, this level of certainty. So like, as both of you was talking, like the contentment of like, this is it and I'm good. And like you can predict that, like like after this, there's nothing else. And so it goes into, and Rich kind of talked about this earlier today when we was on a different call about that level of anxiety. And so thinking about tomorrow and everything that you got going on brings this level of anxiety to where it's like, I really don't want to deal with none of that. Right. And so it's because of these compounding issues, whether it be poverty, money, ex-wife, kids, the motorcycle, whatever it is, I can't pay my bills. It's just these compounding issues that kind of overload us. And then we're like, okay, like, how do we really resolve it? Like, where do we really start? And sometimes it feels like death is the zero amount. Like death is gonna clean my slate and then I'm good. But we don't really look at the aftermath of all of that. And then as Toy was talking about, like we don't look at the optimism in what tomorrow brings. Tomorrow gives us another opportunity to right or wrong or figure out what's going on. Or for you, Camp, it gave you another opportunity to just start this platform or start your car wash, or do everything that you said you was gonna do. And my question always become, why do we have to get to rock bottom to get it? Like, why do we have to get to the near-death experience to say, you know what, I'm going to do this today? So, let's go ahead.
One thing that interests me though is because it's almost a little scary for me actually to say it out loud, is to not care even about tomorrow. Like the car wash, this platform, and all of that. While I say right now, I tell y'all like I'm happy. Yeah, I'm happy. I'm making movement. I'm doing good now. I'm good. But at the same time, it ain't. You can't say, "Are you glad that you didn't die?" I can't sit here and say that I'm glad that I got to see today. Like life is, I don't know. For me, life has been too hard that even now that I'm happy, I still look forward to the end. And it sucks that, like Rich said, that it's death is a reward. Well, I'm ready for my damn reward then. And it's like I leave the house every day. Every day I leave the house. You got the riots on this side of the city or people protesting, whatever's happening. Well, you sitting there, it's like, okay, well, I got my gun or I got my blade in case I make it home, in case I don't make it home. It's like you don't even know if you're gonna be able to plan your day or not. You don't even know if you're gonna. I don't have most days. I don't even know what I'm gonna eat or who house I'm gonna go eat at. And I don't know if to go back and say, oh well, if somebody say straight up, oh, you happy you survived? No, I don't know. I want my motorcycle fixed. I know that, but that's about all I really know. Like that's it. I'm still too unsure of a lot. I'm still, and Rich, don't you even bring up that thing that I sent you. But but
JT looked up like, what? Wait, what was that?
A lot of uncertainties for me. I still don't know what they say, how life is worth living. I still don't know what they mean by that.
I kind of want to jump in on that question too, to say that why do you wait to a near-death experience to really begin to live? It's almost like when your backup is against the wall. And of course, in our fraternity, the saying about becoming a noob, when your backup is against the wall and you're really having to fight, you begin to learn things about yourself that you never knew that you can do. You begin to learn that, you know what? Tomorrow ain't guaranteed. I can do this. But that's because you learned in that moment that, wow, I have this ability. I have this voice. I have this platform. People are really going to listen to me. And I can relate to Kemp in saying it took me a while to get my practice up and running. It took me forever to put together a psychology day profile, right? I got my degree back in 2016.
Anthony, your mute is off. All right, you good. Go ahead, Rick.
Yeah, I got my degree back in 2016, but being around individuals like you all have really put things in perspective. And what Kemp wrote and sent to me really took me through another loop because it really just put a lot into perspective for me as far as facing fear and understanding who I am. It's like, you know you're a lion, but when you hear your roar, you jump back and like, was that me? Or dang, I don't know what to do with this power. And you begin to contemplate instead of moving forward in it. So I I personally don't know. So you ready to jump in?
Yeah, I am. I am. One of the things that I'll start by saying is that for me, there's a difference between being content with death and wanting to die. So when it comes down to people who have near-death experiences, and they start to live their life after having that experience, I feel like that's because there is not that like deep longing for death. Being content with death is it's in no other way to say it, but it's fine. It could be a fine thing to be content with death. In my opinion, I'm content with death. If I was to die tomorrow, listen, I did what I was here to do. I'm not welcoming that, but if that was to happen, that's just what it is. So with that being said, I definitely think that those are two different things. And I would encourage people to tap into their purpose and tap into their why do they have that will to live after facing some type of near-death experience, because it's gonna take some time to understand why didn't you die in that particular experience, why you felt ready to die, and how you're gonna plan to live, because we have to plan to live. Living is not something that we should just be doing. We have to plan to do that if we're going to live our life in the most fulfilling way. So yeah, that's my take on it.
Yeah, all great points. And so you bring up this point I was gonna ask about like going past purpose, but like what do you want out of life? Like what is it that you really want out of life? Like we get this understanding of you really need to find your purpose. And so, you know, being purpose driven and things like that. But also the other end of it, like what do you really want to get from it? So you could like add gas to the car, so to speak. Like if I know I want to get a particular thing out of life, then just add into that level of optimism to say, you know what, like I'm gonna stay here so I could keep working. And then it also points to this level of intentionality. Like
Definitely.
be intentional about what it is that you really want to do, and really what you want out of life. I'm looking at my notes because I wrote down some notes. Black people have had this experience
Man, you
in this country. What'd you say, Rich?
I said, you're supposed to be winging it.
I know, right? I'm taking notes because it's like, this is powerful, bro. Like, just getting this information is like, you want to make sure you capture some notes. And I want to make sure that this conversation give people what they need, right? Because there are some people that have been near death. There's some people that have been to the rock bottom. And they really need to know, like, what the hell do I need to do tomorrow?
Right. Facts.
You know, like, I really want to do this. Like, I really want to check out. But I really don't want to check out. But I feel like it goes to somebody telling you
right there. What I call them, because you know, with my former employment, we got suicide prevention classes and all this stuff. Ain't gonna lie, it's bullshit. But well, let me ask, it ain't bullshit because the reason behind the classes is for a reason, but how they teaching it is a joke. And because I look at it like, I don't know, anybody could spot somebody a mile away that was attempting suicide because they needed attention versus doing something because they had intent to do some shit.
Right.
And it's like, for me, I'm going to do myself a favor right now, and I'm going to close my front door home and say,
why he getting involved in that? My point real quick before you finish, Camp, is, and I'm going to throw this out there as you get done, but we're going to talk about relatability as it pertains to therapy. Go ahead, Camp.
So you got, for me, it's like, I've never saw more than these two feelings. It's either my life need to end or I'm liable to do some dumb shit to cause more mayhem in the rest of the world because of how I'm feeling internally. And not knowing, I know both is bad. And again, I got a strong team behind me. Many people in my corner coaching me up. And, you know, I'm the king of trying to build somebody up, you know, someone how good they are and the whole nine. But when it comes to motivating yourself, that's been my biggest struggle in my entire life. Is first, you know, rising to the occasion, defeating adversity, you know, going through the shit. And then you feel good. But I don't really know what good is supposed to be. Like, what is this, you know, this white picket fence life that people talking about? What is this, you know, financially stable life? Like, I'm supposed to be financially stable right now. And then it's still some months that I'm sitting there eating damn beanie weenies and damn oodles and noodles and shit. And it's like, well, damn, okay. So only thing that I could get is if I do this to myself, yeah, my kids may be hurting a little bit, but they go get the payout and they gonna be able to go on with their life. Because I don't know why I still to this day I see, like, I kind of like vaguely see what I'm doing and why I'm supposed to be doing it, but I can't really commit to my feelings and being like, I'm supposed to be doing this. This is my purpose in life. I'm gonna follow this dream to the rest of my life, to the end of my days. Because as quick as I get something, as quick as it's taken away from me. That's how it's always been. And when you tired of that, you tired of life, you tired of trying, you tired of committing, you're tired of, it's like people that's been abused in relationships. You get beat on so much in a relationship. If a woman's getting beat on so much, she ain't gonna never want to trust a dude. Even when she comes across a dude that even he ain't got no hands, his arms is chopped off, she still gonna think he violent. You know, like
he has legs. He has legs.
You're good because that's what it is, though. It's like when life beats you that bad, you can't trust nothing in this motherfucker. And that's where I'm at. Is like, so what I was telling Rich not to talk about, I ain't gonna tell you what it said, but I capitalized on what it was. It was the death of the old me and starting a new version of me. Mm-hmm. And what it is. So what I was putting down was, if I'm here, if I'm stuck here, I might as well make the best of it. And after I reread what I wrote, I could see how that's confusing as shit, because it was some really motivational shit. But for me, it was nothing more than, well, niggas, I'm here, so I might as well do good work until I can finally close this door and see y'all on the other side. Because I used to be one that used to wonder about what was on the other side when you die. I ain't gonna be honest, I don't give a damn what's on the other side. And I think that's where people that claim that they about it, and I don't mean just suicide, I mean anything, when people just claim to be about something. I told Anthony, I used to tell him all the time, are you willing to die about it? If you're willing to die about it, then I know you mean it. And I don't know, I ain't got really nothing else to say, but I don't know, I'm just confused as shit. I'm still confused.
I'm gonna jump in and say, JT, if you ever can get your hands on a copy of that, Toya, if you can get your hands on a copy of that, that was one of the most powerful things I read in my life. Just being inside someone else's head, not only how they view people around them, but to really dig deep and say what it is and how it is in such a way that it's like you have no choice but to sit back and then you read it. It took me damn near, after I read it 4 times, and it's long as hell, it took me to read it and sit back for an hour, meditate on every last word. What the hell am I waiting? And a buddy who read it did the same thing. It was just one of those things where it was like, You said what?
You can send it to them. Just them.
But all right. Well, I'm gonna send it to y'all. It's a good read. I'm just putting it out there.
It's confidential information. All right, let me say this before you get.
Go ahead, JT. My bad.
Yeah, I know you got something else. Let me say that this is gonna sound cliche as hell, and it's gonna sound crazy, but whatever it is, Count, that you wrote that we gonna get. First of all, I'm gonna tell you this, bro. Like, say that shit, dog. Like, be you. You know what I'm saying, and let folks know what the real deal is. And the other thing is monetize it, bro. Put it in a book. You know what I mean? Like everything that's in your head, dog. Put it on, black and white on the screen or on a notebook or whatever, and put it in a book, bro. And get some help with crafting it and structuring it the way that it needs to go, and monetize it, dog. Like I ain't saying that you should, take advantage of nobody, nothing like that. But there's somebody that need to hear your story, bro. There's something about what you got to say. If it took Rich 4 times to read it and to really dissect it and to be like, yo, that's motivation as hell. That means that there are other people that are feeling the same way you feeling, that are going through a place, and they need to hear your words. I'm not saying that's what your purpose is, but that may be what the assignment is today that you need to do to give to somebody so that they can get through whatever the next phase is of their life. Like that's what it's about, and you look at it from that angle and then say, you know what, if this is my assignment right now, I'm gonna work on it. We all done graduated high school and all that. We didn't look at graduation. We looked at assignment after assignment after assignment. Those of us that got degrees, paper after paper after paper, till you say, listen, give me my damn degree because I'm tired of writing papers. You might have to look at it from that way and say, listen, let me give this assignment, let me do this thing until I get to the next thing. Go ahead, Toy.
That's the perfect analogy, honestly. I was thinking like not too long ago, like with graduation season just passing, I'm like, these kids really go to school from pre-K, kindergarten, all the way to 12th grade, go to college. In my case, went straight from college to grad school, just straight through. But just like you said, it's just like putting that one foot in front of the other and staying steadfast and taking it one step at a time, because nothing worth having happens overnight. If you're baking some bread, you have to let the dough rise, and that's not fun. That's like the worst part of baking. But at the same time, the reward is going to be great. So with that being said, no, you don't necessarily know what your purpose is now or what the outcome would be. But in the meantime, you do know, well, damn, I'm here. Let me just, let me do what it do. Let me do right. So that's a great realization to have right there, because when it comes down to the terminology of what's my purpose or what's my mission or whatever the case may be, I think that a lot of times we get stuck on terminology, and it gives off this like culture of toxic positivity, where everything seems like you have to be super optimistic or super happy. You're not going to be happy about everything that happens in your life every single day at every single moment. That's just the fact of it all. That's life. Life has its ups, life has its downs, but it's how you travel those roads and how you keep on pushing through to get to the next step. It's just like when you're on a road trip. They have rest stops. They every 200 miles, 250 miles, you hit a rest stop and you're like, dang, when am I going to hit this next rest stop? But you keep pushing. You don't pull over to the side of the road, do you know? You keep on going. Gun it to the next rest stop. At least you have bathrooms, you have vending machines and all of that, so you can have a satisfying rest. So that's what, in my opinion, that's what all of this is about, having those points where we know that we have to rest, but having a satisfying rest, so it makes the journey worth traveling.
Some of us find that satisfaction in some of the roughest forms, though. Mm-hmm. And it's like, so 2 years ago, I took a road trip on a Gixxer up to Washington State. And people were like, what? You rode a sport bike that far, all the way up there? You did that? It's uncomfortable. How do you sit like that? How do you lay like that? Blah, 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 so many hours, like all this stuff. And I'm like, look, anytime that I'm out on an actual trip, I call it is self-misery. It's a punishment that I choose to put myself through to bring myself back down to reality, to let myself know that I'm still in control of myself. So when you're dealing with the hail, or when you're dealing with the rain, or when you're dealing with the snow in North Dakota, South Dakota, in the shittiest states all over this daggone country, when you're dealing with that stuff, people say, why in the hell would you do that? Why would you have the choice to do that and do that? Because it's to let me know that, hey, I'm still here. I got some control over something. Yeah. Like, you know, every day we get up, we go to work. You know, what's the worst day of the week? Everybody said Monday. So then the most happiest day of the week, Friday, except for if you got to work Saturday and Sunday. But the thing is, though, is at what point do you find happiness? I've had my fair share of Mondays, but why do my Fridays feel like Monday? That shit sucks. Like, I look at people going on their family vacations. I ain't gonna lie to you, them niggas look miserable too. But
facts.
Even at the same time, even the ones that aren't miserable, it's like, I don't know what a real vacation is, but all you've had vacations, you know, you've been on your road trip. That's a vacation. No, that was a safety precaution. There's a difference. Some people do shit because they want to do shit. Some people do shit because they need to do shit.
Right.
And I'm a person that goes out and does things. And a lot of people don't agree with what I do, but I go out and do it a lot of things because it's what I want to do, because I need to do it. It ain't nothing fun about it for me. It's because I need it. Motorcycles, I love it. Yeah, I have some fun days on bikes. But nah, when my ass gets up at 2:30 in the morning and get out and go on the freeway and end up in Arizona, nah, I didn't do that because it was fun. I did that because I needed that.
Those of us that ride,
there's a lot. Go ahead, JT.
I was gonna say, those of us that ride, we know. Before I let Rich go in real quick, we have to stop allowing other people to create our realities and create what is supposed to be good for us. Right. So you talked about like family vacations. You like, well, I don't even know what a real family vacation feel like. And I can really attest to that, because in my book, I talk about a vacation I took with my dad and how terrible that shit was. And it was like, you know, I've had other vacations, you know, not a lot of them because I wasn't fortunate for that. But who is telling us that family vacation is the end all to be all, right? Like, who's saying that, like, if you don't have that, you ain't live life. And so we have to be very careful about putting our perspective on other people. So people that travel often and say, well, if you ain't traveled life, you ain't did this. There's nothing wrong with traveling if that's, you know, what you want to do and things like that. But we cannot put other people down or make them feel bad because they don't have the capacity to travel, or they really don't want to travel because that doesn't really excite them. For instance, Cam like to ride bikes. He may not want to get on a plane to go to a whole nother state or a whole nother country because that may not be his thing. So we got to be careful about allowing other people to really paint this picture of what fun is and what our reality should be and what we should value and things like that. Go ahead, Rich.
No, I was listening and I agree. Kind of going back to enjoying this journey and what makes you happy. No one else can define what makes you happy. People can paint and say, well, hey, this is what a relationship is supposed to be. But then you get that and realize this is not what I want. Like, I don't want any of this. I stay at home wife. That blows me. I'm not going to sit here and take care of all this bills while this person spends all my money, but I'm being told this is what happy look like. Happiness look a whole lot different as far as relationship, as far as career, and my Monday should be every day. So, and working towards it, like me and Toya talk, I'm taking this counseling thing on the road, like really saying, you know what? I'm choosing not to be at a job. This is going to be the job. Like, this is what I'm doing for myself so that months down the line, my every day is going to be a Monday. When I wake up and say, you know what? Dang, I got a lot of cases, clients to talk to this week. But you know what? You ain't clocking in nobody clock. This is your show. You run it how you want to run it. and this is your thing. This is your peace of mind, and you do it how you want to do it, and not let someone else control your narrative. Because oftentimes, when you allow people to control your narrative, they're going to project their narrative onto you and make you feel like, well, you know, maybe you should be doing this, Camp. JT, I know you really good at helping people, but maybe you should think about getting a job as a supervisor for DCI, knocking you all the way to where they're at just so that you can feel their level of misery, as opposed to moving in silence and saying, you know what, this is Toya, this is whatever job, a job, but not
the job.
not
Hello.
the career, not what my end
I
is
always
going to be.
say that.
It's just that. And that's in every aspect of life. If you want to get on your bike and ride all the way down here to Florida, do that shit, because like you said, you need it, but it's also therapeutic to you. It allows you to free your mind, and it's a happy place for you. No one else can define that. Everybody going to tell you what they feel like it should be, but they're never going to say, you know what? That sounds cool. Tell me how that trip went, or what did you experience on that trip? See, and I'm one last thing, and I'm gonna give it back to you, JT. I was at this this author reading when I was at FAMU, and the author said two things. He said one thing. He was like, you get 2 dates on your birthstone. You get the day that you lived, the day that you died, and then there's a middle date. You just do life. During that time, never allow anybody to rein their thoughts, their opinions on how that dash should be. That's your dash, and only you can dictate it, because you're going to be the person that's born that day and in that day, and they're not going to end with you.
Yeah, bro. Listen, good stuff. Toya, go ahead, because I can feel it in my spirit that you about to drop something on it.
You go. You can go.
So Rich talked about taking counseling or therapy on the road, right? You're gonna take your talents to South Beach, so to speak. So when I was doing counseling work, a lot of people don't know this. When I was working with young people, I never had an office, I never had a computer. I didn't have the best of training or anything like that. My clinical supervisor, she was phenomenal. She was from Boynton, white lady, and Miss Randy was the shit. Like she got me decent. The reason why I bring it up is this. A lot of people feel like, and we talked about this a little bit on the call before, about really what counseling and therapy really looks like. And so my practice when I was engaging in that looked completely different. I never had an office. I had to borrow somebody's office. I had to borrow a laptop. I had to do clinical notes on the weekends at the library. And so I'm doing like individual sessions on the basketball court, on a picnic table, in a dorm room, because I was with DJJ. So these kids on confinement, I'm in going with them with another counselor or another youth care worker trying to get a session in. And so it doesn't matter what it really looks like. And so those people, and I'm encouraging people right now, like, if you need the help, don't worry about going to an exact location or whatever. Like, get it where you can get it. Like, get it how you live. It doesn't matter, like, you don't have a building to go to, because there are clinicians out there that'll be like, listen, bro, I'll come to you wherever you at. I'll make sure that I give you exactly what you need. If them coming with a computer or a pen and pad upsets you, tell them don't come see me with none of that. Just come you. That's it. Because a lot of times we get distracted trying to take notes because, well, how did they present today? Or, what was their attitude? What was their dress and this and that? Man, who the hell cares? Like, get them the help that they need. If you can't remember what happened in that session, you weren't paying attention. You weren't involved.
Exactly.
You wasn't engaged. And so when I came in as a new counselor, I struggled because it was new to me and I had to learn the language. Every job has a language. And so I had to learn the language that they use. And so that was my barrier. But once I got past that and understood, okay, case notes need to look like this, this need to work, whatever, I'm like, okay, cool. Now I can give my kids the best of me of what they need in whatever environment they in. If they came in there toe up, dirty or whatever, this and that, I don't care. I'll say, okay, they presented this way, but I'm going to talk about what we were supposed to go over in our treatment plan. and more specifically, what did they need from me in that particular time? So, you know, anybody, if you need it, it don't matter what it looked like. And it go back to, we talked about images and the difference between clinicians. Listen, if they got to come suited up with a shirt and tie on or a suit, and they feel like that's the way that they're going to connect with you, baby, they ain't going to connect with me. You know what I'm saying? That don't make me feel good because you got a shirt and tie on. I'm one of the ones that'll put a shirt and tie on. I don't care about getting knotted up. But I realize that people that I'm serving, they don't necessarily really need that. They're going to look at me funny. You know, going out on cases with DTF, you know, I'm looking a certain way. These folks like, man, who this fool is? You know, and they wanted you to dress a particular way. But I realized that I'm still going to ensure child safety in my sneakers, in my jeans, and a polo shirt. Now, what I won't do is go to court in that. Now, every time I went to court, I was suited up, and anybody could tell you that. And people got on my case about, well, you need to wear a polo shirt. I said, why in the hell I'm going to wear a polo shirt to court when the judge suited up, the attorney suited up? Like, what I look like? You finna put some respect on my name when I come in this court. Y'all finna be in this fray. I don't care if I got 2 hours of sleep. I'm suited up, baby. Give me some coffee. I'm gonna get plugged. Like, hey, what's up? They're gonna be like, oh, Mr. Yards came prepared today. I may not know much about this case, Judge, but I'm gonna look like I did. But yeah, man. So yeah, I know we kind of getting close on time. And so I really want we didn't touch on this or whatever. And I know Kemp said he wanted to talk about it this time. But like, what's the difference between like a good clinician and a bad clinician? Like, what's good therapy and bad therapy for some people?
Hold up, before you keep going, here's what I want to do. Next week, that's gonna be the whole thing.
Okay.
That the whole thing, the three of y'all between now and then, plan the whole thing out, that whole hour segment for all of that. Good clinician. I don't know how to spell it, so I probably can't say it right.
That's all right.
All of that and anything else, as well as go ahead, drop your contact info, how people can get a hold of you too. The whole shebang. And we'll go run it from there. But go ahead with I can't say it right. That word, that fancy word.
I want to tell a story about relatability.
Go ahead.
I used to work at an agency, basically doing the same type of work that I'm doing now, which is working with youth who are currently involved in the juvenile justice system. One part of the thing that we had to do was pro-social activities, taking them, and engaging them in positive ways. So during the summer, one of the things that we did was go to the water park, to Rapids. So mind you, all teenage young men, a handful of young girls. And of course, we were permitted to wear like our bathing suits or whatever, as long as they were covered, we were covered up or whatever. And I have tattoos. I have like a bunch of tattoos. I have tattoos like literally all over. And this was like the first time I've been in this type of situation with my kids. And they're like, oh, I didn't know you have tattoos. Mind you, like I said, only African-American, Black therapist, the youngest therapist, everybody else is older, white women, blonde hair, different lifestyle and different life decisions. So that, like me just having tattoos, opened the conversation with one of my young men who had a girl's name like tattooed on his arm. Lord. And we just had like a whole group discussion, me, him, the other kids as well, because they were clowning them for it, of course, because him and the girl were not together. So just have like turning even something like that into a therapeutic conversation about decision making and knowing that we're making mostly permanent choices when we're putting different things on our body. And just, they were more receptive to hear a conversation about having tattoos because it was from somebody who had that relatable experience. So even the small things, when you are a clinician, it does make the difference. Not saying that you have to be tattooed, you have to have a certain look, you have to have whatever the case may be, but the story is about relatability. They were more receptive to hear about tattoos coming from me, a person who's clearly, obviously tatted up, instead of hearing from someone who hasn't had that life experience. Fast forward a couple of weeks, we had another pro-social event, And the kids were asking me again, how do I feel about piercings and tattoos and whatnot? And basically I said, if you're going to have visible tattoos, like on your face, on your neck, wherever, you need to be in a position where you're able to control your own income. Because if you're working for somebody else, especially as a teenager, I would not say to go get your face and neck and this and that tattooed. But if you're in a position in life where you're able to say, I have a steady income, I'm able to take care of myself by my own means, then do what you want. And they were very receptive of that and said, oh, well, I think I'm not going to get that done. I don't think I'm going to get any face tattoos right now. I'm like, pretty good choice. But I say all of that even the small things count when it comes to being relatable with our clients.
Sometimes relating, stop right there. Because like for me, Rich knows that. I don't know if I said on the last episode or not. For me, I like my therapist because he can't relate to anything that I experience. And I find it like it's almost like a little enjoyment on my part, seeing his eyes get wide and open when he's like, well, damn, I didn't know this was something that humans had to experience, you know? and so it's like waking people like that up, but as well as he challenges me with another way of thinking. At the end of our sessions, he always challenges with me with another way of thinking. If you can do this or you do that, if you tried it this way, what if you tried it this way? What if you said this instead of that? What if you actually told people thank? He challenged me one time to tell everybody thank you for the whole week. Because while I grown up from the South, you know, you respect was beat into me, not like abusing them, but like I was brought up with respect. But it was like he was like, no, tell people thank you. Thank you for your opinion. Thank you for your feedback. Thank you for talking to me. Thank you for your time. Tell people thank you all the whole week. And then next week, tell me what they say. And I spent that whole week, ain't gonna lie. 6 out of them 7 days, I was embarrassed as shit. Because everybody asked, why are you telling me thank you for everything? Stop telling me that ain't you. So that 7th day, I ain't gonna lie. I stopped. That thank you shit went out the window. And I stopped saying thank you for a while. It was like, yeah, that was after that. But when I got to talk to him, I was like, it was surprising though, because a lot of people smile with one word, like 2 words, thank you, because they felt appreciated. Prior to that, it was always a bunch of complaints about my tone or the words that I use. And now a simple thank you at the end of it, just like, thank you for being in my company. It was just like, whoa, like they forgot about any type of negative thought they had about me. And that's why I like my therapist, because he doesn't relate to anything that I have to deal with, but he challenges me to almost be like walking around with my pinky out thinking that I'm extra fancy. But he does it to make me feel better about myself. I don't think that I'm a fancy dude. I don't have the luxuries that a lot of other people have. So he's all like, maybe if you carried yourself like you got the luxuries, maybe you'll feel like this way because people will treat you like this way. Make a lot of that shit work. That shit work though. But go ahead.
Right.
I know it worked, bro. I got a whole experience about being treated differently just from the way I look, you know. But I ain't gonna get into that. I'm gonna let Rich go, and then I'm gonna close us out with a story, as Toy said.
Cool.
Yeah, and I'm gonna go with both Kemp and Toya. I had an experience when I was working at a particular rehab. I met this guy from West Virginia, and he came to the building, and I noticed he had a tattoo on his ankle. The tattoo was a swastika, and I could tell that he was trying to hide this tattoo. Skinny guy, he was trying to hide it. And I said, don't hide it. Show me. Like, what's the story behind it? Because I knew that there was a story. He comes in all my sessions. I've noticed this since day one. I've been meeting with this guy for almost 3 weeks now. And I noticed how our conversation is. We're good. And so when he finally told me the story about the swastika, he was in prison, West Virginia. That was his survival tattoo. It was either you're going to be this or you want to have to do this.
Right. And
so that was his survival tattoo. And having that conversation, it was very uncomfortable for him But by me not automatically being offended by it and just wanted to hear him out and hear his story, it was like he opened up and said, this is what it is. The next session he came in, had shorts on, tattoo showing, everyone looking at him like, what's going on? I said, well, he got a story to tell. Tell him about your survival test. And that he later on got it like covered something else. But it was for that situation because he left prison, came straight into rehab. And I said, that should remind you that you did what you had to take. You did what you needed to do in order to survive in the moment in prison. So while you're here in rehab and working on your addiction, you should do the same. Do what you have to do to survive in order to make it to the next day. Just like you got that tattoo to survive in prison, go through this process so you can survive in life. So my thing is, when dealing with a great therapist, they'll never come off as pushy. They'll never come off as I know it all. At most, they might just kind of look at you and have a conversation and back and forth and try to get you to smile a little bit and get comfortable with them. But you as the client have full control over that session. And at no point should you feel like, hey, dang, did this guy get me? Or feel any kind of way outside of either he challenged the way I thought, or I don't feel like I got nothing out of this. I just walked out of here and I just spoke my whole entire life to this dude, and this dude didn't give me anything back. I don't feel nothing.
Yeah.
JT, back to you.
Yeah. So let me start by saying relatability doesn't mean I have the exact same experience that somebody else has. It doesn't mean that I have to go down the same road and do the exact same thing that they did. Let me start there. And so I worked in prison. I told myself I'm never gonna work in prison, right? And it's amazing when you say you're never gonna do something and God be like, boy, let me show you something. And so my first time being in there, like I was terrified. Nobody really knew that, but I'm terrified, right? And so I'm like, Lord, I just want to make it home every day. And the more I was there, I was surrounded by a bunch of men that looked like me in terms of workers, in terms of clinicians. And so they were able to mentor me and coach me and get me where I needed to go. But here's the reality of what I'm trying to get to. I'm running a group session, and one of the guys, I ain't gonna call his name or nothing like that, but he good people. He been down for a minute, whatever. He said, Mr. Yarns, my mind is made of concrete, bro. Ain't nothing you can tell me. You can't change my mind about nothing of this and that. Now, mind you, he probably about in my mind, he about 6'2", about 250, he prison, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, listen, man, this dude probably kill me. So I ain't even finna play with him. So I said, listen, bro. I said, man, I ain't trying to convince you to do nothing. You know what I'm saying? All I want you to do is come to group, bro. That's it. Just come to group and let's get through it. And so I got challenged, a lot, because they'll be like, in substance abuse groups, they'll be like, I ain't never do dope, I sold dope. Well, then you just as guilty. Then I'd be like, well, Mr. Yarns, you ain't never sell dope, so you can't tell us nothing. I said, how you know I ain't never sell dope? So he was like, so what does four and a baby mean? I said, first of all, why are you trying to use somebody rap lyrics? I know what, four and a baby mean. So I was, Tori know what I'm talking about. So
right.
I was competent enough to understand what the language was. I didn't have to be somebody I wasn't, right? I had to be able to connect the dots for them and be my authentic self with them to try to help them. I didn't have to relate to every experience that they had and really, do drugs and be a drug addict or a survivor or anything like that. I didn't have to do that. What I had to do was be myself and make sure that I give my all to really help them with what they needed help with. I had to have a level of relatability. Yeah, they had to relate to me. Like, they had to know that, yeah, I came from poverty, bro. Yeah, I have my own issues. Yeah, I got some things. And it gets to this point of not oversharing, right? Like, share enough to connect the dots, but don't overshare. They didn't need to know what my life was. I don't know who they connected to on the streets. I could be out at the club and somebody run up on me and be like, yeah, dog, You said something crazy to my brother. First of all, boy, you don't get out of my face. Like, you have to be careful. So, anybody that that watches this, understand this. Like, your clinician, your therapist, your counselor does not have to have the same experience you have. And trust me, I believe in images. I believe in people that look like me and helping me. I truly believe that. But there are some people that look like me that don't believe the same thing that I believe, that don't understand the struggle, that ain't been through a damn thing. So, get the help that you need, but understand that they don't have to have the same experience. And I'm going to leave with this question. This is a question that was posed to me, that I'm going to pose to everybody else, and we're going to cut it off. Would you rather have a heart surgeon work on you who never had a heart attack before, or one that has had a heart attack before and has recovered? That's my last question.
Well, there you go. There you go, people. We'll be back next Tuesday with the third and final episode as far as Black mental health. And we'll keep going from there, and then we'll see what we come up with next. Thank you very much. Thank y'all for y'all time.
Thank you.
Y'all have a good rest of your week. And I'm sure, Rich, I'll be on the phone with you in the next 15 minutes anyway. So y'all have a good night now.
All right, bro.
All right.